So good evening, dear sisters. So we will go ahead with growing old gracefully. So Father has already touched this topic. Yesterday, he began with church perspective, which is of more spiritual outlook. Today, we are going to see this one from different perspectives. So the program, what are we going to see? So it is more of psychological, social, but we will be dealing of these many aspects. Okay, so developmental, we will have a general view on old age. Then what we have is we will go into bio, which means physiological, because body, about our body, what happens to our body physically. Then psychologically, what happens during these periods, and socially what happens. Okay, so this will be the focus of the second one. Then we will also touch religious aspects. You are all sisters, we are religious, so we will be always combining, not just studying about the old age, growing old, but as religious persons, how we can grow old. Okay. And spiritually also, how we can integrate spirituality into it. So in my presentation, this today and tomorrow, you will be having this both. It will be combined of all these things. So developmental, bio, physical, psychological, and social, and religious, and spiritual, and integration of all. Good. So the attitude, of course, already you are, I heard from Father Robin, it is 80, it's 0, and you are willing, so much of willing. You are very ready. I see some people very eagerly, ready to listen to their talk. So the attitude is, what am I going to do? Sometimes you may think, oh my God, what is this? Simply listening, what is going to be helpful? I know now what they are going to say, new things, all these things, attitude can be. So this is to grow into self-knowledge and awareness. Okay, self-knowledge, to know about oneself, coming into contact with oneself, knowing about ourselves. The learning never stops. There are still learning is there. A lifelong we can learn. Every day we can learn. Human persons are mystery. We are mystery. Every day God reveals to us different things through our body, through our emotions, through our thoughts, through our experiences, through our relationship. God goes on revealing to us. When we stop looking at those things and understanding the mystery of ourselves, we lose the meaning of our life. So this learning of the mystery of the person, myself, and the other, and the world, and the cosmos never stops. We constantly discover ourselves. If I ask, who are you? You may say certain things, but after some times we go without words. We become mute. We are not able to explain. Why? Because there are deeper aspects of ourselves which remains undiscovered. Therefore, this course will help you to have a deeper knowledge about ourselves. When we have a deeper knowledge about ourselves, it will be better to handle ourselves. When we know about our own physiology, what's happening to me bodily, what is happening to me emotionally, what is happening to me spiritually, in what condition I am, I'm able to have control over what is happening, to some extent, what is happening to me. Okay, so I think this, as I am giving you these points, you will become more aware. This is to give you an awareness, and you grow in self-knowledge, so that you are able to understand, appreciate, accept yourself, and from attitude of negativeness to you grow into positiveness, and you see life as a mystery. Okay. And another attitude is mindfulness. Okay, so these days they are talking about mindfulness. That means being conscious, being mindful. Okay, being mindful, become conscious of what is happening to me and the others in the world. Whatever happens to me, the attitude is non-judgmental. As we are going to see this, these points, as you are going to hear this reflection, sometimes you may be touched, you may be triggered. Now, certain points may be like, oh my God, this is how I am. Whenever you have that type of sensation, the attitude should be like you should accept yourself. Non-judgmentally, you have to approach. Compassion. Have compassion towards ourselves and acceptance. Most of the times, the problem comes, the worry comes. We criticize ourselves because we don't have compassion towards ourselves. All through our life, you have worked a lot of
unmuted.
Unmuted my mic. Okay. Is it audible for you?
Jason, continue.
Yeah, audible, no audible. Somebody talked in between. So
I don't know, something happened.
Good. So mindfulness is a beautiful thing. Mindfulness, non-judgmental. So when we start judging ourselves, becomes self-criticism, then we put down ourselves, then we become from optimism to negativism. Okay. So the mindfulness is basically non-judgmental attitude, acceptance, which our Lord Jesus Christ talks, no unconditional love. And Buddha also would talk about this unconditional love. Gandhi would talk about unconditional love. And recent research says that to grow as better human beings, we have to become mindful. Mindful means accepting life as it is. Whatever happens in my life, accepting it as it is. I am who I am. I'm getting old. I'm getting shrinking in my, shrink in my face, wrinkles. It is okay. When I look at the mirror, not saying that, oh my God, why it is coming, I'll go and buy the cream and put, like this is non-acceptance. When you accept it, you see it, okay, this is happening, okay. This is not a sickness, but it is a growth. It is a growth. So what I do is I change my perspective into mindfulness. I accept as it is. Without the judgment, accepting it, whatever happens to me, I accept. Whatever thoughts comes into my mind, I accept it without judgment. Whatever thing that comes from whatever memories, whatever thinking, emotions, experiences that comes into my memory, I accept as it is. One day I'm not able to sleep well because of different reasons as I am aging. Not blaming the other, not blaming myself. I'm accepting as it is. Yes, I'm not able to sleep. I'm not able to sleep. I have pain. Yes, I have pain. I am having sickness. I'm having sickness. Yes. Seeing as it is. Non-judgmental attitude and the compassion towards for yourself and acceptance. All through your life, you have worked compassionate work, caring work. But now also you continue to care others. One of the things that we miss in our life is to care about our own self. Self-care, And self-care is not only eating good food, self-care not only having a good clothes, good habitation, good facilities. Self-care is basically caring our own self, being compassionate towards us, not criticizing, not putting down, not thinking that I cannot, and rejecting life. No, accepting the life. Okay, that is about mindfulness. Optimistic, being positive. There is two options. Whenever we look at reality, whenever we look at life, whenever we look at others, whenever you look at life experiences, there are two ways you can look at things. You have been, I think you're all from 60 to 80, 60 or above, 60 above. So you have almost 60 years of experience. If you can take a two view of what you have been living these 60 years, it can be summarized into two ways of looking at your experience. One can be negative, another can be positive experiences. Okay. So these two ways of looking at looking at life. So optimistic here, what we are going to do is not the negative things, but trying to take effort to do that optimistic look. Okay, this is an effort. This is conscious effort. If we are not conscious, what happens is our attitude becomes, if you are not conscious, it goes automatically, it goes into negative. Automatically, we don't think positively. To think positively, we have to be conscious, we have to choose, we have to decide, we have to use our will. Otherwise, conscious means positive is not will not come. So the positive thing is like planting something. No, weeds grow very easily, but flowers or flower plant, crop does not grow easily. You have to plant it. Likewise, therefore, optimistic approach. Then personal work, some sort of personal work. I will give you some work that you can do for reflections and all that, whatever maybe. So this could be the attitude as we go ahead. Good. So we will go ahead. What is old age? What is old age? Okay. Maybe if you can say a few things about what do you think about old age? Shall we have, can you say something? What is old age according to you? Is it possible? I think if someone can unmute, you can unmute and tell. What is old age? Okay, I don't hear anything. So everybody knows what is old age. So we'll go ahead. So a beautiful quotation says that old age, old age is a time of spiritual realization and completion. Okay, spiritually you have realized old age, and completion. Oh my God, I have completed, I have worked, a sense of completion. When people are no longer pursuing position or status, when you become old, what happens? You don't occupy positions. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it happens, like sometimes you occupy positions even if you are old, even after 60, 70, 80. You think Pope or most of the politicians, if you take the age, they are actually after 70, 70s, 80s, they are dead. But generally, we are talking about general population. They don't have any position or status, money or material position. They can look closely at themselves and at the reality of life and death without distraction and superficial concerns. Okay, so this is the old age. This is one quotation. So we can have a different types of definitions for old age. So one thing is spiritual realization. Okay, they have come closer to God. They have understood what life is. They are accomplishing their mission. When people are known, it's not position. They have been working. They are in position, but they are starting to let go. Let go. Old age is also it's considered to be, it's a special period of life in the autumn period of life. Autumn period. So autumn is the time where everything falls down, or the leaves and all falls down. So it's called old age. Also is called the autumn period of life. Seasons of slowing down for the winter. Our autumn years is a period after we retire from work, start to slow down. Okay, so after retirement, what happens is we start slowing down. We become very slow. We are not so busy, running after programs, but we are very slow. So not only our works, but also our body, our activities, everything becomes slow. Many people love this phase and enjoy their time in retirement. Yes, many people, they enjoy. Oh my God, finally I'm retired. I'm happy. They will say. Some people are not. Some people they enjoy. Some people they not. But generally, it is a period where everything slows down and people they have a sense of accomplishment and they start relaxing and enjoying. So this is one thing. Okay, autumn period. This is also considered to be the golden years of time. That means the time that is carefree and easy. Okay? Golden, you don't have to care about the other people think anymore. So when you become old, when you are after 60s, 70s and all, slowly you think that, okay, I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to worry much about others. I will be worrying about what I can do in my life, how I can contribute to the world, how I can be useful. And I'm not going to worry about the opinion of the others. I become a little more free. I'm much more freer than the old age or middle age. I'm much more free. If you are very much anxious, tensed when you are young or during middle years, now is that you don't become anxious, you become relaxed. They say anxiety and tension comes down as we grow older. Okay, so maybe you are running, you are tensed, you are stressed when you are in the middle age and when you are working. But as you are aging, you become you think that, oh my God, all through my life I was running and it is useless. And let me not run. Let me not worry about it. Let me calm down. Let me take things easily. So that is that type of attitude can be there. This is also a second childhood. Second childhood. So when you become old, we are born as a child. We grow as adults, then afterwards, towards the end, we become a child. So we grow as a child and we die as a child. We are born dependent, we become independent, then afterwards, towards the end of our life, we become again dependent. Okay, so this is the cycle. So towards the end of our life, towards old age, we become a child. It's called a second childhood. In your home it happens. When they were parents were guiding the children. But in old age, what happens is the children guide. The children guide the parents. You should not eat this. You should not go to that place. During this Corona time, I think all of you might have experienced. Your younger sisters might have told, don't go out. Don't go out of the house. Okay, so Corona you will get caught by the Corona. Or don't eat anything. Sometimes you may be having likeness for the sweets. Anybody is having likeness for the sweets? Some laddu, jalebi, like that. And you like eating. You are taking medications, but sometimes you feel like taking and eating. You eat. Then immediately, what is the command you take? You don't have any control. Okay? You are taking medicines, but again, you are taking all these things. Then night you will suffer. Then I have to put injection. All these things, all this stuff you will hear. Sometimes you would like to go and take a walk outside. No, it may be slippery, it may be raining. Your heart is willing. Who becomes the parent, who becomes the adult is the other. You become child. And this type of thing will irritate you, will give you anger. Oh my God, I am a 60-year-old, 70-year-old. I was provincial, I was general, I was this, that. Now you are telling me what I have to do. Yes, they will tell us what we have to do because of this is the fate of the old age. So we become child, we become second child. We are guided by the other. As St. Paul tells, when I was young, I can do things, but when I become old, I let myself to be led by the others. I leave myself to be led by the others. Okay, so this is an important thing. So we need to understand this phase. This is the law of the nature that we are born as a child, we grow as an adult, then afterwards we have all this power and vitality. Then slowly we lose this vitality as we age and we become once again, we become dependent. We need to, the amount, the quality of acceptance, you accept this reality, the amount of your peacefulness, your calmness, your joy will depend on how much you accept this process of becoming a child. Some people in their autumn years of life may have some regrets. in old age, not everything is positive. Sometimes regret. So I have completed 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. What I have done in my life? No. Or what if? What if means future. What if it happens? No. What what if I get sick tomorrow? Or what if I lose something? No. What if? About the fear about the future. Regrets or guilt, like I should have done, I should have done like this, I would have done like this, I was in a position. For example, I was in a school, like you may think I was a HM in the school, I could have helped so many poor girls. Or you were doing social work and you think I could have worked little more, I could have visited little more, I could have helped little more. All these regrets may come continuously. Okay, so these regrets. You can't change the past, but you can only look to the future, whatever stage of life you are in. Okay, so the attitude that you have to hold is not regretting about the past, but sometimes it comes, as you are most of the times you spend alone. What happens? It can come. Whatever you have, your experience, past experiences comes to your mind forefront. It comes into your consciousness. So when it comes, you are looking your life, your past life in front of you and analyzing your life. Okay, so what I have done, what should I have done, and what should not have done. No? So this type of evaluation is there. When you are evaluating, you have to be careful. You have to take an attitude. As I told you already, this is a compassionate attitude, mindfulness attitude, acceptance attitude, and whatever you could do, you did it. So future is fine. Whatever I can do, I will do it. So no regrets, acceptance of the past. Good. This is also what can make this moment a special. This is also a special special moment where wisdom acquired. Okay, so this is also called wisdom years. You are acquiring wisdom. By the age of 60 persons have gained some wisdom, if not what we have done right, clearly from what we have done wrong. So wisdom comes not only from success, achievements. Wisdom also comes from our wounds, brokenness, failures, so our own sicknesses. So both positive experiences, negative experiences, you have gained wisdom, and that is why you get wisdom years. And this can be shared with others, wisdom acquired. And what can I give to the world? As St. Paul tells, I don't have money, neither silver nor gold, but I have the experience of Jesus Christ. What you have is the deep, rich experiences, not only from the positive experiences of your life, also from negative experiences of your life. No, it is like it has crystallized, like this experience, this wisdom, these understandings, these reflections that you had, these insights as crystallized, and you have this wisdom. And this wisdom can be shared to the other people. This wisdom can be shared in the way you have to hold on to this wisdom in the times of difficulties, in the times of crisis, in the times of confusions, in the times where community is undergoing difficulties, when the world is undergoing difficulties. To understand God's plan, God's plans, God's mystery in this world, to understand about the life, you need to hold on to this wisdom that you have. Embrace the right to live. No, one of the things that we forgo or we take it for granted is, oh my God, I lived 60 years. People will often repeat, my life is over. My life is over. I don't know when this. When God will take me. So please don't repeat this, okay? Then it will become self-fulfilling prophecy. What do you mean self-fulfilling prophecy? I want to do, I will fall, if I go, I will fall. So if I repeat, what happens is, I will walk in such a way, like trembling or like shaking, I will fall afterwards, okay? So what I think strongly, that I will start behaving in that way, then that will affect my life and others. Therefore, you need not anticipate death. You need not anticipate any final time. Let it come when it comes, okay? Embrace the life. Whatever God has given you, embrace that, okay? So that should be the attitude. Then it is a life of life of purpose. So life of purpose is consider all all of the wonderful opportunities we have right now for the meaningful life. You should also have the purpose in life. When you have a good purpose in life, what happens is your life becomes meaningful and there is no worry. Whether you are 60, whether you are 70, whether you are 80, whether you are 90, you have purpose to live. When you get up in the morning, you should have purpose in the life. Some purpose, something, being useful. Recently, I was listening to a doctor who is of like 88 or 89 years old, one of the cardiologists. He was sharing about his own experience. His father, who was 96, when he was dying, he was in the hospital working. And the secret for his joy, the optimism that he shared was nothing. But he says, I don't worry about anything. When I get up, I want to be useful for at least 2-3 people. That is the purpose. I want to be useful for the others, not in a way when I was young, not in a way when I was very capable, with the power and positions, money, but whatever way possible, I become life for the others. I help for the others. Some purpose I should have in the life. Okay, good. This is also time of penultimate. That means second last of our personal biography as we age. This is as we are 60s, 70s, this is the second last stage. So you're not at the end of deathbed. I think no one is there. So you are towards that, but you have still more time to live. Good. And this is also time of weakness, frailty. It's a time of vulnerability. You are very weak, fragile, and limited. You want to run, you are not able to run. You can imagine running, but you cannot run. Your body does not cooperate. And you want to go for mission. You want to go to the church now with the young sisters who are there, but you are not able to go, but you have the desire. You have the desire to participate in the Mass Eucharistic celebration, but you are not able, okay? So these are the things, frailty, Also the risk of accidents, when you may be a very good driver, you may be riding two-wheelers, four-wheelers, but as you age, you may be stopping, but if you take, there is a risk of accidents, infirmity, you become sick, okay? And personally, you feel the limitedness. In relationship, you feel limitedness. You're not able to see the mobile, you forget the mobile number, or you're not able to use the Android phone or the latest facility of computers, and social limitations, like going out and meeting people, social limitations, or the spiritual frailty also, Spiritually also you feel dry and you enter into the dark nights. Sometimes you lose hope. All these things are part and parcel of the old age. It's also time of plenitude. Plenitude, it's a fullness. Plenitude is a fullness, quality or state of being full or completeness. Okay. So we are seeing about also the positive things that you might feel as you age. You feel complete. You feel fullness. Oh my God, I have accomplished. See, you have a sense of satisfaction and joy when you look back to your life and see that I have done well. I have worked well. I have done well. And whatever is under my capacity, whatever God has given me, the vocation that I have received, the resources that I have got, the skills that I had, the position I was in, the responsibility I was holding, I did well. Whatever under my capacity, according to my consciousness, if I did well, you have a sense of completeness. And I feel that, I feel, sisters, that all of you, despite of more or less, how many percentage, all of you have done well, okay? So have a sense of completion and achievements, fulfillment. you will enter into this plenitude. Enough of something, enough of something. No, I used to ask my, my father, who is living in a hot place in Chennai. So we used to tell that, our brothers and some of our relatives, they used to tell us, they got a AC in the bedroom. So we would tell that you put AC also in the hall, because he used to sometimes complain it is very hot, very hot. And we used to tell that put one AC in that room, no, so that you can have you need not suffer. What he used to tell is, for me it is enough. What is there? It is enough. No, and he would also take it like, I have been this way, I will manage it, no problem. The natural air is very good. Of course, sometimes it is hot, but it is okay. See, a sense of enough, no? Sense of enough gives you, this completeness, plenitude, enough. Person, one who is not, does not have this attitude of enough, how much ever you give, even if you put in big bungalow, you give crores of rupees, you give sumptuous food, he will be asking, or she will be asking more and more and more. That will enter into greedy. So the sense of enoughness, no? And one of the thing could be, as you are growing into this old age, there are also unfulfilled needs. Unfulfilled needs can come. When I was young, I did not eat well, or I did not enjoy this. I was not comfort. I did not have this good. So now there can be also longing to have this. Longing, no? Okay, you bring me this, bring me that. I have to have all those things. That can be. I'm not saying that all of you are of that type, but there is an unconscious compensation of what was missing in my earlier life. It could be childhood, it could be adolescent years, it could be of middle years. Most of you might have undergone a strict formative programs, and you might have renounced a lot of things, unlike present times. Present times, when you look at the sisters, they are having a lot of benefits, compared to your time. They are having a lot of benefits. So sometimes you may be also tempted to keep, So if they are having Android mobile, you would ask, I also want to have Android mobile. Okay, you give me. And if they, if they having computers, you may also have, give me computer. You are having computer, no? If the other is eating ice cream, you also, I also want ice cream. You give me, okay? Why you are depriving me of this? You give me that also. Okay? You are having some facilities, give me also that. It is okay. If you are able to handle it, if you are able to do that, it is okay. But sometimes it also depends on the portfolio that they hold, the situations that they have. But what happens is here, whatever I did not have, I am deprived of, I want to have now. A sense of not enough. A sense of not enough. As you grow, one of the things that you need to grow in aging gracefully is enough. Lord, what you have given me, it is enough. When you go to bed, you tell it is enough. No, it is enough. Of course, there should be a longing to know the mysteries. There should be longing to grow a little more, to search for a little more. It could be material, it could be spiritual, it could be physical, it could be relational, whatever it may be. But we need to develop a sense of enough. Some people eat old rice and they are very happy. Some people, they eat biryani, they are not happy. They are having sumptuous food, no? You celebrated Franciscan feast, oh, very beautiful, nice food. Some people, after eating that food, also not happy. But whereas you see some people, they even fast, they put on a very smiling face, It is an attitude, it is spirituality, it is what you have, it is a sense of enough, And this is a spirituality, and this is growing gracefully. Lord, whatever you have given me, it is enough. It is enough. I don't pray for becoming young. I don't pray for working more like a child, or one of my junior sisters in my community who is, I don't pray for beauty. The other is looking very good. I am not looking very good. So I need this, I need that. If I could have been, there is no complaints. It's enough. The attitude of enough, beautiful. If you can adopt this attitude of enough, I think you will grow into spirituality. You grow into calmness. You grow into this plenitude. So this attitude of enough, we need to grow. Enough is also important for good health. When you eat something, and you have to have sense of enough. If you don't have enough, what happens is you eat too much and it affects your body. When you do some work, you have to have a sense of enough. It is enough. According to my age, my capacity, it is enough. So this sense of enough is very, very important for healthy, balanced, graceful growing. The way of enjoyment and relaxation. So it's time also of enjoyment and relaxation. We are weak, but we can grow into perfection, walk towards plenitude. So plenitude, this joy and completeness does not mean I have to be perfect. And whatever God has given me, God tells in gospel that the seed that is grown in good land is 30%. It can give result of 30%, 60%, 100%. Therefore, whatever I could, whatever I can in this life that God has given, I have done. It could be 30. Others might have done 60. Others might have given maybe 100. Let me not compare. Let me not compare. Whatever God has given me, I have done. Plenitude. Okay, so, and beautiful quotation from, this is from Spanish. Okay, so don't worry. Llega a ser quien eres. That means I have put it here translated. Become what you are called to be. I was talking about the purpose, purpose. What is that purpose? I want to become what I am called to be. If I'm a mango tree, I don't want to become a coconut tree. I am a rose plant. I don't wish to become a jasmine plant. So I wish to become what you are called to be. So it's a constant search. It is a constant search, constant prayer, constant meditation, constant longing. Lord, what have you called me? Or what you have called me? It's not that when we entered the convent, when we made the first profession, when we made the final profession that everything is over. God calls us constantly according to the age, according to the prophet. Now you are 60. If you are 60, God calls us especially in that, to experiencing Him differently, your relationship with Him differently. And your contribution to the world is quite different. Whatever you want to do, so you not comparing to the past, not comparing to the future, not comparing to the others, and your uniqueness. Go into your own uniqueness, your own special calling. Now become what you are called to be. Calling is not over. Calling is it is a continuous process. Okay, so if you have this sense of what I have, what God is calling me today. What is God's calling me? By experiencing this, I'm living today 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. What God is calling me at this point of time, at this 2021, in October. Now, in this pandemic, it's getting better and better at this situation. I may be confined to the room, what God is calling me to be. Okay, so it's beautiful for putting you in the purpose, so you can go about. So old age is not a disease, but a biological process that no one can avoid. So sometimes we think that old age is the disease, or we want to stop this, or we want to prolong this. All these things are happening. Modern days, lot of medicines, lot of cosmetic items, lot of treatment, diet, everything they are trying to do because to prolong this, to postpone this. Basic attitude is non-acceptance of this process, biological process. So it is good to eat well. It is good to take care of our body, but we cannot stop the process. Okay, with our medication, what happens? There is lot of difference between our India and abroad. developing countries and developed countries, their longevity, the years they live is much more than our Indian context. They have a lot of facilities there. The climate is good, the food is good, very healthy food, medical facilities there, so it's prolonged, but we cannot stop. Aging is not sickness. So when you are having gray hair, I have a lot of gray hair here. Okay, I'm not that old, but I'm having. Okay, no problem. But you may be also, some maybe after 60, 70 also, they may be thinking, oh my God, I'm getting gray here. I'm getting here again. I'm becoming fat. This is the problem. Especially, I think, problem of women and problem of becoming, after lockdown, everybody checks their body weight. They check and see, oh my God, I've become 5 kg, 10 kg, some are 10, 15 kg also, they 8, 12, all these things. See, accepting the biological process, healthy. You become old. Sometimes people are very happy to celebrate birthday, but they will not tell the age. You should not ask birthday when you are celebrating birthday. Don't ask the age. How some people purposely they will come and ask, what is your age? They will ask, and these people will find it very difficult to tell. They will feel very serious because it puts us into a consciousness, oh, I am becoming old. And if you are not able to accept your aging process, biological process, and that becomes, it's not a joyful celebration, it is a very worryful celebration that it becomes. So whatever triggers you, when you look at the mirror, when people are telling, when people are asking, they will ask, they will tell that old lady or grandmother and all that. When you hear this, some people, they don't want to hear. They want to always hear young girls. Okay, it's very nice to hear, but they don't want to hear. It is basically not accepting the process, okay, biological process. Thinking, you should not think that it is a sickness. Okay, aging is not sickness. It is a growth. It is one of the stages of life, usually considered from 60 to 65. Okay. It also depends on the retirement stage, retirement stage, because government is issuing schemes and other things. You get free things for senior citizens. Each country, each society decides certain age. For example, India, I think it is some places 58, some places 60. Government servants are 60. In abroad, in developing countries, it was 65, or sometimes it is 60, 67, I think. Now it is, okay, some say presentation mode. Now it's better? Okay, good. So it is 65, 65, sometimes increasing, now increasing, good. But the World Health Organization, it tells it cannot be, it cannot be fixed. It can be change according to the context, but mostly it is 65 years. But in Indian context, it can be like after 60s. Some people even in 40, they say, I became old. 40 is not old, 40 is young, Some people 35 also, they'll say, I'm very old, I am not able to do. Okay, no. So this is about a concept, a general concept about it. So concept of old age, how do they see? In the tradition, great values, great power. The traditional way of seeing is old age is considered to be a great value. Having an old person, older person, grandfather, grandmother is a blessing. It's also power. Power to have old people. Father might have touched in the church, and in the Old Testament, all were God revealed to the old people, Abraham, Moses, and feel that Sarah, and in Old Testament, Elizabeth, all those people are old people. Zechariah, all these people are old people. Old people are considered to be full of wisdom and rich. This is a traditional view. Nowadays, they don't consider. If you say something, they will not listen. At home, that is the thing. They are having a lot of values to give. I used to tell my father, no, you tell your stories. He told me once, I'm ready to tell. Who will listen? Who will listen to the stories? That is the condition. You may be having a rich experience of the congregational experiences, missionary experiences, lot of values. It is actually rich, but who will listen? That is the question. Who will listen? Yeah, so this is a traditional value, is the traditional perspective is very rich, and industrial society is laws of value, they are burden for them. So as as works, as industry developed, all those things, as world developed, they consider old people are useless. They are useless, they are useful as long as they do something. Mostly this Western attitude is this. Therefore, they want to manage everything, even if it is, you find in Western people, Europeans, if you find, I think in your congregation also you will have it, they want to do everything by themselves because they want to show, they want to have that I am valuable, I am capable. Because the idea is, if I'm not capable, if I'm not able to manage my own things, I will be thrown out. Okay. So this is about industrial societies. Consumeristic societies now is value financial ability. Consumeristic society, the ability to manage yourself, ability to, the more money you have, people will take care of you. If you have pension, people will take care of you. If you have no pension, no. Even if you don't have pension, your congregation will take care of you. Don't worry. That is the gift of the religious. Even if you have not, means you don't have any other thing, congregation will take care of you. But in a world view, when people are having money, assets, some sort of material things, people will take care of it. So this is the general concept of the old age. Myths. That means, it is also good to clarify unnecessary thinking. Sometimes they think old people have old ways of thinking. Old people are having old ways of thinking. If it is a direct class, we can have a dialogue, we can have, that will be very interesting. But I can ask what you think, but now it's not possible. So what is it? Old people have old way of thinking, not necessarily. Pope Francis is coming up with what beautiful thinking, very provocative, very visionary. Is having 87 years old. He's old, but his thinking is much forward thinking. People can be young and they can think very traditional. So this is one of the myths. Old people lose their memory as they age. So as they age, suppose if you forget anything, maybe a simple, you miss something. Even child also forgets things, forgets phone numbers, forget where I am now. But it is not not equivalent to memory loss. Because you are becoming old, you need not lose memory. No, you know one of the politician, Karunanidhi, was 94 years. He had a good memory. And one of the research that they have done on monk, or especially these cloistered nuns, about their brain capacity in psychology, they have, especially for memory, they have done Alzheimer, they have done stuff. Two sisters, they have studied many sisters. They have told 100 years their brain was very active, very good. 100 years, cloistered nuns. And they were doing research, and they were seeing how they were able to maintain their memory, how they were able to maintain their that brain connectivity and capacity. They were able to remember, they were able to read, they were able to write. All these things were functioning well. It is because they were praying every day. What they are doing by praying every day? When they are praying, they are reading, their mind is activated. They are reading, continuous activity, doing something, continuous activity, continuous reading, continuous recitation. What happens? It improves memory capacity. And the Alzheimer, they did not suffer by Alzheimer. They did not suffer by memory loss. They had rather, they had a high memory, good memory. So the more you activate, you can develop your memory. So by praying is good. You can keep up your memory, reading whatever you can read. Some people, they keep on reading. Recently, I went to give class to one of the convents, and she was, the superior was 80 years old. She was active. She was working in the field, and rest of the time when I was going for classes, she was with one book reading. My God, I was taken up. She was 80. She was reading. So good thing. So it's not that, we, as you age old, you lose memory. No. Genetic health condition can't be avoided as people age. Okay, my mother got Alzheimer, mother got Parkinson's, so therefore I will also have, not necessarily. Less adaptable to change. Oh my God, you become old, they are not able to adapt to change. Not necessarily. Old people are more adaptable. No, they are more adaptable to the families. They are more accommodative. They don't hold grudge. They are able to forgive. They are able to adjust. They are able to give up. Okay, some are not able to give up. That is also there. Some are very rigid. It is also there. But we cannot conclude old people is equivalent to not adopting. No, not adopting. Okay, less adventurous. That means they will not take up. They are not courageous. They are not bold. They don't venture. No, not necessarily. No, they take up. They take up adventurous activities. Some people are very bold. No, they are ready to go to a mission. They will go to some communities. They're not doing anything. I know another place, another convent. It is inside the jungle, like it is a novitiate again. But usually, I think in your convent setup, they put one old person in the community. If they are juniors, if they are youngsters, one sister will be old. No, one will be of age, like 80 years, 70 years, 80 years, like. So it is for wisdom, sharing, and keeping up the tradition, all those things. But this particular sister should be willing to go there. No, it is alone. Nobody is there. Okay, it is like a very jungle area. But you think so many old sisters, so many people are adventurous and they are living, and still they are missionaries. No, missionaries. MC Mother Teresa was missionary till her death. She was old. She was adventurous. She was going here and there. So it is not necessary that old people mean they don't take up any adventure, risks. Less productive as they age. Do you think less productive as they age? No, it's false. Some people do. No, whatever they are capable of, they can do. They are doing it. Whatever they are capable of, they can do. No? It's not that they are not productive. No? For example, you take cardinals, all the cardinals above 60 years, I suppose. Cardinals, bishops, all these things are above 60, 70. They are very productive. All politicians above 60s, 70s, 80s, they are productive. Scientists, they are productive. Doctors, they are productive. Why can't you and I be productive? It's mindset. We have to change our mind. Okay. So if we think that we are not productive, if you think that we cannot take up, we are traditional, that means we are falling into these myths. Okay. And less creative as they age, not necessarily. Recently, they have announced a Nobel Prize. No, Nobel Prize. I think one of the Nobel Prize yesterday was on neurologists who found that sensitivity, heat and cold, how it affects our brain, the sensitivity. A lot of research is being done. During old age. It's creative. Still, there is a lot of passion, and more lonely and depressed, not necessarily. And now they are having a child depression. They are having an adolescent depression. They are having an adulthood depression. So depression, loneliness, not necessarily that has been part and parcel of the old people. They are incompetent. Again, it is not necessary that they are incompetent. They are intelligent. They are the chief advisors. Sometimes you can give advices. So these are all myths that people can hold. So this one, beliefs. So you can have, people have beliefs and stereotypes about old people, regarding physical characters, they have beliefs. If you have gray hair, you are old. Not necessarily. If you wear specs, you are old. Not necessarily. If you wear a certain type of clothing, you are old. This is old people clothes. No, these are all stereotypes and beliefs, And if you repeat things, again and again, they will tell, you are old people, you are like a broken record, you are old. You are not old. Even among youngsters, you are talking like a old, old booty. Like they would be talking like that. Okay, so these are all, where is it coming from? Is it coming from our own stereotypes and beliefs that we hold on about old people? A negative attitude is fear of old people. Suppose somebody is appointed in the community, they will ask, how many old people are there? How many people are above 60 years? Let me check. If I'm going, oh my God, how to adjust with these people? They will be very stubborn. They will be this. See, these are all negative attitudes. Some are very afraid of. They will ask for transfer also. Okay. Sometimes they would ask, oh my God, I'm not going. But after accepting, the experience may be different. They are very compassionate, very loving. Now, I have some people have spoken to me these fears, no fear of going to near the old people, especially old sisters, no, and they are very rigid, you know. Some nurses who are working, they are maybe very fresh, very juniors, and they have to take care of the old people, no, like in the old age home. For them, when they are getting appointed, no, they are going through a lot of trauma. Actually, oh my God, how I will go and manage these people? Fear of old people, fear of old people. Okay, so that is also a possible that having not relationship, they don't come closer to you. So how you can attract people is having compassionate, unconditional acceptance, giving you a positive, having this adoptive nature, accommodating others, then you can attract others and your life becomes very happy. Okay, so other thing is positive respect and admiration. Some people have respect and admiration, especially in our Tamil culture. When we are taught, when you see old people, you have to stand up. Till now, when I see some seniors to me, I will automatically, my body comes automatically. Why it is coming automatically is it is installed inside beliefs. But when you go to abroad, whatever senior is there, they will sit. Their body will not come up. It will be relaxed only. And these days, these youngsters these days will be relaxed only. They will put a headphone and they will be sitting like this. Whether you are old or whatever, maybe even priest comes, even bishop comes, even pope comes, they are not worried. Belief system, no respect, no admiration. That is also one of the reasons that we are losing vocation. No admiration. No admiration for the older people, no admirations, and we are losing values. Good. But still, there are people who hold on to these world values, and we need to also instill this. It is not that whatever they say is true, but certain amount of respect is important, loved by the family. It's not that all old people, aged people are thrown out, rejected. This is a negative view. There is also a positive view where people, they get accepted. Benefits of old age. What are the benefits? You would ask me, Father, is there benefit in getting old? Yes, there is benefit. What are the benefits? You get wisdom, like Solomon. I don't want anything. It is wisdom that you get, what are the things? Not the human wisdom, but the divine wisdom. Human wisdom is foolish. Like yesterday's reading, first reading. Wisdom, St. Paul talks, human wisdom is foolish. But we are not running after human wisdom. We have been running till 50, 60. We have been achieving, we have been accumulating a lot of things, a lot of worldly wisdom. But this wisdom is a divine wisdom. This is a divine wisdom. You come closer to God. You understand life. You start letting go, let go of all the possessions, all the attachments, all unnecessary things. Wisdom. Grow into confidence. What is confidence? Confidence in your ability to live your own life. It is a confidence. You need confidence. Oh my God, I'm not capable. I'm not capable. I cannot live. I cannot live. Maybe you are. When you are a child, it is okay. When you are adolescent, it is okay. When you are adult, it is okay. But when you are 60s, 70s, 80s, the benefit is you have seen what life is. Now I am confident. I am confident in my life, in my relationship. I am confident to handle my own issues. I am confident to live. I am confident to live alone. Alone in the sense, I need to be dependent, of course, as you age. But confident to satisfy my own needs, whatever is possible, I am confident. I am confident to live my life, hopefully, confidence, ability. I am confident about life, about opportunities, about relationship, about events, about experiences in the future. It's beautiful. Becoming authentic, authenticity, authenticity. When we are born, we are authentic. When we want to cry, we cry. When we want to laugh, we laugh. When we want to sit, we will sit. When we want to sleep, we'll sleep. When we want to eat, we will eat. But afterwards, we get training. and we change the pattern. We are not authentic. We are not true to ourselves. We are adapting ourselves to the world outside, society outside. But what happens after 60 is, you know who you are and you want to live your life. Adopting, but not losing yourself. Being true to yourself. What you talk and what you feel and what you do, what you express, there is a continuity. There is a connection. There is no pretense. You are not acting. There is no more to act. For whom you have to act, for whom I have to act, for whom I have to run all. I have run all through my life. I have run. Now I am tired. Enough. Enough is enough. Let me live my life. Let me be happy. Whatever I have, I am happy. This is what I am. I'm not able to sleep. This is what I am. I'm not able to walk for a long while like you. Yeah, that is what I am. I accept myself. I know who I am. I get angry sometimes. I'm triggered sometimes. I feel happy sometimes. I'm tempted sometimes. Yes, I accept. This is what I am. I am who I am. This is a lifelong learning. And as you are aging, you become more authentic. Recently, I went to meet a priest of his old age, and he was talking something very authentically what he was feeling about his own experiences, about his own emotions. You know, I feel this way. I feel the need for relationship. Yeah, you are able to express. I feel dependent. If you're dependent, yes, I am dependent. If I can, I can. No. So that is what Jesus tells, no? If your answer, say, be your answer. No, let your answer be yes means yes, no means no. This is authenticity. That comes by age. Strength. What is that strength? More resilient. Resilience means bouncing back, getting up, not stuck in one point, not stuck in my physical pain, not stuck in my psychological pain, not stuck in my relationship, not stuck in my, my own world. Everybody, we suffer. It is part of human life, no? But we have to come out of it. There is a world out of it. And you have been, throughout your life experiences, you have been living this. You have different experiences. Call back these experiences of resilience experience. That means falling down and getting up. And what were the things that it was helpful for you? Okay. Social relationship you can get. Okay. People, they become, those people who were very rigid during the younger years, middle years, when they become old, they become very soft. They become compassionate. They start relating. They'll go out. There is one movie called Manjappai in Tamil. Manjappai, Yellow Bag. If you want, you can see. So this also talks about the old age. They start relating with Facebook, WhatsApp, and trying to find out old friends and so on. I'm not encouraging you to go and use WhatsApp and Facebook and so on. Don't ask your provincial. Father told you have to develop the relationship, so please provide us an Android phone. Okay, so we have to develop whatever phone you have, you can develop relationship. Okay, so don't tell you are a provincial, but developing good relationship in the community members, the mission areas, the place where you are developed, going out, that helps. Happiness, the more you fill yourself with happiness, less stressed you are. Okay? So this actually we have dealt it, so I'm just skipping these things. Issues faced by the old people. So what could be the issues? Like failing health. Okay, so there are different issues. Health is one thing. Then economical insecurity. That may not be very much applicable to our situation, religious situations, economical inability, insecurity. Maybe if you want to buy something, you may not be able to go and buy. You have to depend on somebody and you need money. That could be also possible. Isolation means you are isolated. This is a typical thing, isolated. So how can you overcome this isolation? By connection. So make a lot of connection. Connection, you can write letters or you can call people or talking, connection. Neglect, you feel neglected. No, you do not know what is happening in the community. They don't inform you, and you do not know. The provincial is coming today. General is coming. You do not know. Nobody informs you. Nobody tells you. So you feel left out. You feel neglected. I'm also a member of the community. I was important. I'm a superior of this community. You know, I was do 2 terms, 6 years. I was superior of the community. Now nobody is minding me. Nobody is telling me anything. Feel rejected, neglected. Possible abuse. Not only in religious setup, in house setup, in family setup, a lot of abuse is happening. You know, they're not treating well. They're not talking to the people. They're not giving good food. They are not giving um, needed facilities. All these things. Loneliness, especially loneliness because of lack of a relationship, lack of connection. Okay, fear. So a lot of fear will be there. Fear about my own health, fear about the future, fear about death. Low self-esteem, okay, knowing, oh, I am useless, nobody likes me, no, I'm not giving anything, I'm not performing, I'm not contributing, self-criticism and putting down. Nobody loves me, I'm not beautiful, no, I'm not, no, I'm not energetic. When some people come in, come to the convent, they talk to the only younger sisters, they're not talking to me, no, it's natural, no. Yeah, that is there. Okay, so these are all signs of low self-esteem, and jealousy also one of the you can call it one of the child of low self-esteem. If I don't value myself, if I don't think, if I don't accept myself, if I think that my body is not strong, I'm not beautiful, I'm not capable. When I see someone who is beautiful, when I see someone who is very agile, active, very relational, outgoing, what happens is when people relate, maybe especially the opposite sex, when they come, when they are involved in ministry, when they come to the house, what happens is it triggers certain amount of, oh my God, they're not valuing me. I'm not able to do like that. If you are having a low self-esteem, if you are valuing yourself low, having a low concept about your own ability, your own body image, your own capacities, what happens? It triggers jealousy. It can trigger envy. Then you may tend to say, tomorrow they should not come. Tomorrow onwards, they should not come here in this government. You can say, please don't say like that. Okay, everybody is not like that, but that is a possibility. I'm talking from psychological point of view. So instead of stopping them from their own nature, which is young nature, juniors, or very charismatic, extrovert nature, instead of stopping them, you can raise your self-esteem. When you are going into positivity, when you are growing into acceptance, which we have been seeing all these things, what happens is you bubble with positive energy. You welcome people. You also make friends. Not necessarily. It's okay. We are called to relate with everybody. We are also called to relate with everybody. Jesus was relating with everyone: elders, youngsters, women, men, sick, healthy, downtrodden, rejected, accepted. All those people. So we need not to reject anyone, and let us be open-hearted. Laws of control, laws of control in what? I'm not able to control my own self. I'm not able to control my bowel, my digestion, my own surroundings. I'm not able to clean my room. I'm not able to wash my clothes. All through my life, I was washing my clothes. I'm not able to wash my clothes. I'm not able to walk. I'm not able to go and do my shopping alone. I'm not able to control. Laws of sense of control. I'm not able to remember things. I'm going and asking other people. I'm becoming dependent. It is okay. Laws of control. Letting go is the central point of the growing gracefully. Letting go. I'm not able to control. Yes, I'm not able to control. But not everything not able to control. I'm able to control myself. What I can control. Okay, I'm able to control. I'm able to lift my hand. I'm able to see. I'm able to say no to certain things. I'm able to say no to temptations. I'm able to take the tablets. I'm able to eat well, take care, whatever is there. Okay, so you have to distinguish between what I can control and what I cannot control. and have a sense of positivity. But okay, I'm not able to control certain things. I'm able to control certain things. Lack of preparedness. Lack of preparedness for the old age. Oh my God, I never thought I would reach 60. I'm now 60. You need not think, it will come automatically. Not prepared, okay? Biologically, it comes chronologically. That means age, it grows, but psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, I need to be prepared to welcome this age. And this course is one of the means that you are taking up this course is to welcome this. This is preparing yourself. Okay, good. So changes during this phase is physical, biological, as we saw. Retirement, of course. You all have been retired if you are 60, but accepting that, that also is important. So we will see that. Social relationship changes. So far you had relationship in your works, in your where you are working. School, it could be school, it could be any organizations. In your hospitals, you had relationship. Now your relationship is limited. Change in personality, your own personality. So you may be outgoing, you are not able to go out. So things like that. Change in intelligence, you are not. Memories, short creativity is coming down. Change, reduced economic resources, losing loved ones. You start of your age, people start dying, becoming widow or widower. It's not applicable for us, but for family members.